welcome to another episode of Between the Pipes with Archie from All Everything Entertainment.
What's up, guys? We are back for another week of Between the Pipes. I'm Archie, your host, with my co-host here, Daniel Bakley. How's it going, buddy?
Yeah, it's going good. It's going good. How's your day going up in the Great North?
Not too bad. I think I'm finally over the Leafs being eliminated. I lied. I'm not. I've relocated myself with the videos, trying a new angle, and let's dive into this. We've got quite a few things to talk about.
I'm happy.
Oh, I know you're happy. I know you're real happy. So we're going to review week one. For the most part, I mean, I'm sure most people know what happened, and we'll go over previews for the semis and what's to come. So what we do know now is, based on what we've seen, part of the reason why last night's episode didn't air was also the fact that I wanted to have a little more to provide tonight. I had a feeling the outcome of the last games yesterday was going to be at least one series was going to end. I didn't think both would. But with both ending now, we have a conclusive window of what the next round looks like. So who's in? We know in the West, we've got the Knights, the Avs, the Stars, and the Canucks. I can't believe the top three actually will re-rank as 1, 2, 3 in the West, with the Canucks squeezed in there. And in the East, we have the Flyers, Lightning, Bruins, Islanders. Again, 3 of the top 4 teams in the seeding are sitting there, with the Islanders being the odd team in that managed to squeak their way in. So let's talk about who got eliminated. So in the West, we had Arizona, Chicago, Calgary, and St. Louis. Out of this group here, I got to say, I think seeing the Hawks and Flames and Blues out, I am a little surprised. Arizona, as I said before, I don't think had any business even being in the playoffs, but they were there. They did what they had to do.
They had a good matchup in the qualifying. So.
Yeah. I thought Chicago was going to put up a little more. But in the end, I guess they weren't fast enough. They did not look anywhere near as fast as I would have thought they were. And then the Flames, that series was great. It's just unfortunate how it ended. I mean, the last game of that series doesn't paint the picture well enough. I feel really bad for Calgary's goalies because they were great. Like I think they had a great series. It was a lot of back and forth. It was one of the most entertaining series of the first round to me.
And then that game, what was it? Not last game, the game before, where Calgary was up by that goal, and then with 2 seconds left in the game, Pavelski tied it up, and then they won in overtime. So
yeah.
We could have had a really different outcome had the Flames won that game.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. I mean, it was a great series all in all. And then even the Blues Canucks series there.
You definitely did call that awesome.
Yep. And once again, defending champions out first round. Doesn't surprise me much. It surprises me that it was Vancouver to do it, but man, Vancouver is looking real good. They're looking really good.
Yeah, it was tough that they lost Tarasenko at that point because they started to fight back a little bit, and then they lose him, and then that was a big letdown right there. That he got hurt.
Definitely was, but in the end, I'm seeing players out of Vancouver that I did not expect to step up their game, and it seems like it's these little guys that are doing a lot of damage, and that's helping them a lot. So it'll be a really nice series. We'll get into what's coming next in a few. But looking at the East, Carolina's out, Columbus is out, Washington's out, Montreal is out.
I would say I give it to Montreal. They looked fast, they looked good, and then they're going to be a team to watch out for in the next couple of years with the Suzuki and Kotkaniemi. They still have Carey Price. I think it would be good for them to look for a goalie, a young goalie to possibly back them up. And then see if they can do something on the defensive line, knowing that Weber is getting old. So
now, what's funny is with the Canadians, I think last night they did everything right, but they couldn't score. They came out shooting. I thought it would have been a different outcome, but in the end, I think Philadelphia's their big presence. They've always been a big presence on the ice physically, and they'll beat you up. They'll take you out and they'll beat you up. And
what was it in the end of the first periods? No, it was midway through the second period, and I think it was 2-1. But the Canadians had I think a 15 shots to 4 shots of the Flyers, but the Flyers had 2 goals early in the first period.
Yep.
On their first 3 shots. So yeah, like the Canadians outshot them and they're more aggressive. It's just that the Flyers were finishing on the shots that they had.
Mm-hmm. And then we look at the Capitals. I think a lot of people wanted to see a little more out of them. I definitely expected a little more. I think if Ovechkin played the same in the first few games, the first couple games, maybe it would have been a little different. But he tried. He came out. He tried, and unfortunately, they just didn't have enough in the tank. Columbus, they got past the Leafs, and I didn't see them getting past that round there. That wasn't even a round in the play-in series. They got in, but I didn't see them getting out of the first round. They're not quite.
I thought it was going to be a better series.
Yeah,
for
I did
2
too.
games it was, but yeah.
I definitely did too. And then Carolina, unfortunately, we didn't get to see much of a storm surge out of them. It just wasn't there for them this year. I think they'll be a good team to watch over the next few years, depending on what they do. But for this year, I guess they'll be watching from back home.
But I will say, I thought the Ironers were going to win. I just didn't think it was going to be like they did. Like it was just like a complete minus the 4th game. It was basically like a butt whooping. They just took it to them, and credit to Barry Trotz on beating his old team and eliminating them. And then he doesn't get talked as much as he should. How great of a coach he is. This is the 3rd team that he's going to have that's going to make a decent playoff run. As you know, he was the coach of the Predators, and then he had them for a while, and he built them into what they are now, which is a perennial playoff team. And then he went to the Capitals, and they won the Cup. And now he's on the Ironers, and he's built a culture there, just like he did in Nashville. And they've been a playoff team the past few years.
Yeah, for sure. I think he doesn't get enough credit. I think you're right. Definitely a successful coach, a very good one indeed. When he gets into a new team, he's done quite a bit. I agree, Austin. I don't think Ovechkin's going to break that record. I don't even think he's going to come close, to be honest. He'll chase it, but he's not going to come close. But
how far back is he?
I'll pull up the numbers later, but he's quite a bit away. I know that they were saying that if essentially he keeps his pace, I think for another 4 seasons or something like that, he could come close. But I don't see Ovechkin continuing to rise.
It's just a different game now. I feel like, because back then you had guys that were getting like 140, 50 points, and they were getting like 60, 70 goals and like 80 assists. But now it's like dumbed down a little bit, and you got guys. You're lucky if we see a guy get 40, 50 goals.
So here it is. So it says here, this is as of May 4th. At 706 career goals, Ovechkin is still far from reaching Gretzky's record. If he can average 32 goals per season in the next 6 seasons, he will pass Gretzky's record. That's a lot to ask for another.
If he can get 40 goals or 50 goals in the next 2 years in a row, which he can, he could do it in 4 years.
I don't see him producing that much more consistent. Great player, again, I'm not going to doubt that, but he also needs that support. So he's got a way to climb. He's not anywhere near by any means, but that'll come into a conversation about who the greatest of all time is, and we know what kind of a debate that can spark. So it'll be a conversation to have for sure in the future. So we know who's been eliminated, and we look now at the second round matchups. So we'll start off in order. Golden Knights and Canucks, they start tomorrow night at 10:30. I'm looking forward to this series just because I think both teams are really fast-paced. They both can score goals. Both have goalies that can steal games for them. It sucks that it's a 10:30 game on a Sunday, and it's the only game, I believe, on Sunday. Actually, no, there's an 8 o'clock game on Sunday, too.
I think the playoffs start tomorrow.
No, they start tonight. So the Avs and Stars start tonight. So I think it's kind of...
Oh, yeah, they do.
I don't like that they're having this game at 10:30 when you're only playing max 2 games now.
Tonight's game, yeah.
So, so looking at this one here, they start 10:30. What do you think is going to happen here? Actually, we'll discuss that in a bit because we have our predictions. So this is the one starting tomorrow night. Tonight we've got Avs and Stars, 8 p.m. Another series I'm really looking forward to.
I had the same issue that you did that for the start of the first round, where they started announcing games and then they switched the schedule up 10 minutes later on the games.
Yeah. So
I gotta wait until Monday.
Yeah, because this one is the only one being started with tonight. So that's the West. So they're dealing with the West Saturday, Sunday. Second round matchups for your Eastern Conference. We've got your game Monday, 7 p.m., Flyers Islanders. Again, I think that's going to be a fun game to watch. I think it'll be a fast pace. Not sure about high scoring, maybe. But both these teams seem to score goals in bunches.
I actually think it's going to be the Flyers are going to want to play fast-paced, but the Islanders are going to want to slow down because I think the problems the Flyers had with the Canadians, they won't have it with the Islanders because the Islanders had that young youth that they were riding in this, which they usually don't. So the Flyers weren't used to it. They're getting ready for Domi, O'Droon, and whatnot, and the Canadians gave a heavy dose of Suzuki and Kakaniemi, which they moved up to the first line for the series. And then they were featured on the power play unit, which the Flyers didn't expect that to happen like that, but it worked for the Canadians for their attack. Whereas the Islanders are going to be more about defense and protecting the goalie.
Yeah,
which will help the Flyers out because they won't be on the back pedal as much. And you might see Claude Giroux be able to pick things up now.
I'd like to see that because I've got him in my pool and I really need him to step it up a notch. Moving along, then the next game in the East is the Lightning and Bruins. So they start Sunday at 8 p.m. So they're the 8 p.m. game Sunday. I don't know what to expect out of this series, to be honest. I don't even know if Stamkos coming back. Does he come back? Do they put him in the lineup? Do they take that chance, or do they just keep going without him? Who knows? I noticed with the Bruins, guys like Marchand started to pick his game up and scoring goals when he needed to. Is Pastrnak back yet?
I think he might have been in the last.
He was scared to play. Well, actually, yeah, he returned last game, so he was there. So he's ready to go again. For them. Yeah, he played game 5.
He played 20 minutes.
Okay, so that says a lot. I mean, I know he can play more, so that'll be a difference for them too, because Pastrnak is a big deal. He was missing for them, and having him back is a big one for them.
And then, of course, they had a change in goal halfway through the series. Halfway through the series, which I want to bring up. I told you I was going to do this, but if no one already knows, the starting goalie Tuukka Rask made comments on, I think, game 2. I think it was about game 1.
Game 1 where he said it was a little dull and he wasn't.
Well, it was a little dull. It didn't feel like a playoff atmosphere and whatnot. And then they brought up Brad Marchand and asked him the same thing, and he said the complete opposite. He said he felt like it was a playoff atmosphere, that he was ready to go. This is the playoffs. I'm doing this. And then the next day, you see Tuukka Rask mentioned that he was opting out because of family reasons or COVID reasons. When yesterday from that comment, he had said that it didn't feel like a playoff atmosphere. And truly, like, he left because of COVID, and that's understandable. I get it, but to me, I feel like he may used it as an excuse a little bit to because they were losing at the time. And I don't like that. Like, you're leaving the team out to dry. Just be truthful with how you feel. Don't say it, because it's just a coincidence that he did it the day after complaining about after a loss, that it didn't feel like a playoff atmosphere. Like, if he would have done it after a win, that would have been more convincing. And then what happened? He opts out. They put a lock in, and then he looked a lot better as a team. Like, they took the next 4 games and won the series.
Now, it was revealed later because I think he knew people were going to question the truth behind it all. So in an interview that he had, it says that he was concerned about it. He received a phone call in the bubble from his wife because there was an apparent medical emergency with their daughter. And it was a kind of situation where Rask did what any parent would do. He was concerned, and it was suggested they get medical help without revealing too much information. And that's something personal. I'm guessing he's going to decide to not speak of. He did say that if something like this, in speaking with the interviewer, he said that as a father of 2, if something like this happened to you, you would be panicked and alarmed upon hearing about your child. So don't know all the details about it. Hopefully everything's okay. Hopefully his daughter's okay and it's nothing too serious. Yeah. It is a little weird and coincidental that just the night before he was complaining about how he didn't like the whole atmosphere. And then this happens moments before, which also could support the fact that it wasn't a planned thing, that it was just literally hours before puck drop, he opts out. So whatever the case may be, I hope his family's okay, first part. If it ends up being something different, then I'm sure it'll come out. But it is one of those things that Boston got lucky in having a backup like Halak to put in, because now, you still have a plan. You don't have a backup. And this is where it goes to show how having a backup goalie can become a very crucial thing, because goalies get hurt, they go down. This particular instance is a little isolated, but they lost their goalie, and now look at Halak has his time to shine, and I think good for him. He's stepping up, and we'll see what happens. I think,
and he's been a goalie that's played a lot in the league. I believe he was on Montreal. I think the Islanders.
Did he not play for St. Louis too?
I think so. I think he did.
Yeah, so he played for Boston, Montreal, St. Louis, Washington, and the Islanders.
Yes.
So he's played. He's got some experience. 35 years of age. He's not a young rookie goalie. He's pretty experienced. He knows what he's doing. So I think he's got the right mindset, and I think this is a great time for him to shine and show that he still brings value at his age. So it'll be good for him in the future, and seeing where he moves with this team, and if it draws interest from other teams in the future as well. So that being said, we're going to move on to our predictions for the next round. So we actually have the exact same teams that we chose, with the difference being the game. So I'm picking Canucks in 7, Avalanche in 6. I think that Canucks Knights series is going to go back and forth. We might see a team go up 2-0 and then the other team come back, but I do think they're going to stretch it to 7 games. Colorado is just dynamite right now, and I love seeing Nazem Kadri play the way he's been playing.
I was about to say your boy.
It's unreal, man. No penalty minutes.
What did he have? 6 goals?
If you include the play-in or the seeding games, I think he had 6 goals in 8 games or something like that, or 5 goals in 8 games. Actually, no, it wasn't. He won that overtime game with that last-second buzzer beater, and then he had 2 back-to-back 2-goal games for them. So he's been on fire. McKinnon is just a physical monster and an unbelievable presence on the ice for them as well.
Yeah, Kadri's been like the number 2 to McKinnon, and then number 2, and then they have their number 3 guy right now with a weird last name. I had it written down, and then I'll be able to tell you.
Well, they've got Landeskog that he's kind of
not him. Burakovsky.
Burakovsky, yeah, that's the other guy. So he's
been like the number 3 scoring guy on the team.
And I mean, we've seen magic from Cale Makar that is just unreal. Like when that end-to-end goal he scored the other day, where he just coming out of his own zone, catches the puck at the blue line, and just beelines to the net. Unreal. I think this is probably the best Colorado team we've seen since they won the Cup. So I mean, this is it's great for them. I'm happy for Kadri. I'm not gonna knock on the guy. I'm happy that he finally. He seems to have found his level ground to know where he fits in on the team and what his role is. And you know what? I think maybe the Leafs were utilizing him in the wrong way, trying to use him as an aggressor, and I think he couldn't control that. Whereas now he's being utilized as a threat, as a goal scorer, and he's showing that he can do that, right? So he's doing really well.
And he's not getting frustrated, making dumb decisions like he did. It seems like because he knows he has a defined role now, that he can use it to his advantage, and he's playing smart now.
Exactly. And then Eastern Conference, I've got your Flyers in 5 and the Lightning in 7. So the Flyers, they got through Montreal, and I think they got better as that series progressed. So we started to see the Flyers team that I thought was going to come out much sooner.
Yeah.
So I think you're right with what you said before. The Islanders play a little bit of a slower, laid-back paced game. So I think the Flyers will have a little more ease with their dominance up front and their aggressive play. So I think they'll have an easier series here. And in the Tampa series, I dislike the Bruins, and I don't want to see them go on. And I think Tampa's had some really bad luck over the last few years when it comes to advancing and losing players at the worst time.
Yeah.
So this could be their turnaround for them.
And I just read that Stamkos won't be ready for the start of the series, but he should be able to come back midway through, they said. He's leaning towards game, I think, 3 or 4.
Now, I think they might take this carefully because the last time this happened and he came back, it did not help the team. It hurt them. So
yeah.
This might be one of those cases where if you bring him back, do you play him on a 4th line, give him minimal minutes, but enough to be effective on a line that he normally wouldn't?
They're looking at the 2nd line right now is what they're saying. They're looking to put him on the 2nd line so the 1st line doesn't get messed up, and which I can see because he can be that scoring guy on the 2nd line because that's what he's known for. He's known for scoring. Like he's probably the best scorer on the team, goal-wise. It's just that's what he does. He has that defined role. Whereas the guys on the 1st line, they can score, but they can also play make, set up the other guys. So that's why he's always usually on the 2nd line, because you want your best guys on the main line that you can trust to do everything.
So then, as I said, you've got the exact same teams, just you've got the games ending in a different order. So we both took Canucks in 7. I said Avs in 6. You say Avs in 5. Totally doable. It's possible.
Yeah, I'm very high on the Avalanche. As you know, my 2 picks right now for the finals are the Avalanche and the Flyers, and it's going strong right now because I just feel like they're both playing at high levels. And I don't just with the Avalanche. I think the Stars just got by the Flames, and the Flames aren't the Avalanche. So just in every aspect, the Avalanche score better, they defend better. Their goaltending has been better. And then with the Canucks, they're just a hot team right now, like every aspect. Like right now, you got the 3-headed monster of Horvat, Dozier, and Pedersen playing lights out right now. And that's not even mentioning the defense, because their defense has been sneaky good, and then Markkanen has been playing really good. Whereas he was known for being shoddy, and he's playing great right now. And they just had that, kind of like the Canadians, where they have those young legs, which can be a big point in a series. If you look at the Knights, they're old on the back line, on the defensive line. And I think they got to watch out. The Knights have to watch out about that because the speed might kill him. And then that's why I have it going long, because I still think the Knights have great goaltending, which will help them out.
So here's the bracket as it looks right now. So as you can see, they re-ranked. So this is how we sit. And based on this, we both have the same, I guess, conference finals.
Yeah.
Our predictions. So we'd be looking at essentially a Colorado-Vancouver final in the West and a Philadelphia-Tampa Bay final in the East. And I think that's going to be some amazing hockey if it ends up that way.
Yeah, I even think Vancouver matches up well with Colorado, with how crazy it sounds, just because of the fresh legs. And it's not the thing with Vancouver is they're not relying on just one guy. They have several guys that can get you, and it's their young talent. They've drafted well in the past few years, and that's why they're at where they're at, is because of their drafting.
Yep. So I think we'll see, regardless of how this ends up. I mean, I'm not sure. I think Philadelphia-Boston would be an amazing series too, just because of the history between those two teams. So either which way that goes, if Philly advances, I think it'll be a nice Eastern Conference final. So this brings us back to edition 3.0 of Who Wins the Cup. You are obviously going to maintain the Flyers, and I'm going with the Avalanche. So if there is a Colorado-Philly final, I honestly, whoever wins deserves it, obviously.
Yeah.
I think both teams, if they get there, would be well deserving of winning the final or winning the cup. Colorado, if they continue the way they've been playing and continue to get performance from, it looks like, everybody on the ice, I think they'll be a really tough team to beat. That being said, if the Flyers continue to play the way they played the last two games against Montreal, and they got to keep, the thing is with Montreal, they outshot them. So I think Philly really needs to press a lot more in getting more shots on net. Otherwise, I mean, you don't score, right?
But I will say is the equalizer in like a matchup like that is always going to be the goalie. And I'd take Carter Hart in that matchup any day with how he played against all those shots. He did have two game shutouts against the Canadians with his stellar play. And I feel like Colorado's clicking on all cylinders right now, and no one's really playing bad. Whereas the Flyers, for almost the whole series, you got nothing out of Couturier and Giroux. And it took until Game 4 to get Voracek going. So, and they're still scoring at a similar rate as the Avalanche. So, which is a good sign for them that they're playing great hockey, yet all the players aren't playing well. Like, if you can get those two guys involved, then that'll be deadly. And then I do think that the series will go 6-7 games. So it's not like I think it's like 5, but I think it will go the whole distance.
Yeah. So how do you feel about Philly game 1? What do you think they do?
Against the Ironers?
Yep, first game.
I feel really well. I think they're going to we got a really good back line. I think we're going to pressure their defense and get the shots on goal. It's going to be similar, but like I said, we kind of got shell-shocked right away because we didn't think Kotkaniemi and Suzuki were going to have big roles in the series. So we kind of played back a little bit, and then we went with the counterattack. That's not the Flyers style play. It's getting shots on net and scoring. Mm-hmm. And then letting Carter Hart do his thing, which took a lot of pressure off the defense. And then I think our team will do a lot better to our game. And I think it's just a matter of time before Giroux wakes up. Like, he has to. Like, you can't expect him to play bad the whole playoffs.
Mhm.
And then I see Couturier, and like he's going to start scoring, but he's been more of a stay back guy this last series because of the defense. So they've been having him stay back. This time he's not going to have to. He's going to be pushed up because, as you know, the Ironers don't have a big playmaking scorer, and they just have guys that attack off the counter, and then they do well. Like last series, Pegu and Belleville had good series, and then they had that overtime winner by their number one guy, Barzell. But like you said, I think it's going to be like 5-6 games. The first game, I think we're going to take it 3-1. I think they're going to get a goal late, but I just feel like we're going to be too much for them.
Fair enough. So just heading over to the comments real quick here. Austin asks, where was it there? So Austin asks what shirt I got on. So in honor of, where is he here? In honor of my boy, Nick Nurse, and what he did. Is that picture showing there?
Yes.
There it is. So this is the OVO edition of the Raptors Championship T-shirt. Nick Nurse winning Coach of the Year today. Some might argue that he didn't deserve it. Some might argue that he's got other people to thank. I honestly think this guy did some incredible things for the Raptors and for the team itself. And I'm happy for him. I'm really excited to see how the Raptors continue to do. They're currently up 3-0 over Brooklyn, and I think they're going to sweep. And if they do, it'll be the first time in franchise history, which is awesome.
I think the thing that people tend to forget is he's the guy that developed Pascal Siakam. He developed him down in the D League, and then right when he came up 2 years ago, he started working with the shot because he has this game plan of developing shots that he got from when he was younger, and then he's pushed it onto his players. And then when Kawhi Leonard came into the league, came to Toronto, at first he didn't want to play there. And then Nick Nurse got hired after they got rid of Dwayne Casey, and he told Kawhi, "This is what I expect. We're going to play defense. You're going to be my guy. I'm going to develop Pascal's shot, and we're going to rely on you, and then counter everything." And then it worked out great. He warmed up to Nick Nurse. He said he loved the guy. That's what made playing a year in Toronto so great, was the coach. And he said if he didn't get to play with George and the Clippers, that he would have stayed. But Paul George was a good friend of his, and he just wanted to play with him, which is why he left and doing what he do now. But in that year that they had, Nurse was able to develop Pascal's game, and basically he was able to do that so that he could take over this year. And then they got a couple guys back. The OG came back after being hurt in the playoffs last year. They had Van Vliet stepped his game up. They still had Gasol and Lowry. They actually a sneaky signing that they had was Hollis Jefferson. They brought him in, and then your boy Powell.
Playoff Powell. Unreal.
And they just have a really good set team. Like no one's going to be not flashy, but Pascal picked his game up even more this year than he did last year, and then that's attributed to Nurse's coaching.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So that's the answer behind the shirt, and Raptors fan and like what they're doing, so that'll be a fun thing to continue to do. So 2020, it's been a heck of a year from every aspect. Now I'm going to look at it from just in the last couple weeks. What's happening in the NHL. You'll see stuff scrolling along here. I want to try to hit these all, try to talk a little bit about all of them. So Gallagher, you watched that game. We all watched that game. We saw the highlights. So here's my take on it. I do think it was a dirty cross check. I'm not sure how much contact was made with his jaw after watching many angles of this hit. It looks more like the cross check went to maybe like this area, the shoulder, neck area. I don't know where the contact was with the jaw. It may have made slight contact. I mean, he was bleeding, obviously, so there was more to it. The Flyers head coach, is it Alain Vigneault, I believe?
Alain Vigneault.
So he was not impressed, saying that, Gallagher was yapping the whole way back and for quite a few minutes on the bench and didn't look like somebody with a broken jaw. He missed the game, which I'm not sure why they would fake that, but I mean, he did look hurt. I would suggest that something did happen, maybe lost a few teeth. I'm not convinced he broke his jaw. I don't know that there was that much contact made with his jaw. Your take on this and what you think?
Was this the thing with the Carter Hart, or was it the one with Couturier?
This was it was one where the cross check as he turned around.
Okay, yeah.
And it kind of caught him. It looked like it caught him low. It didn't look like it caught him in the mouth.
Because I was, and then
I want to play the replay, but I don't want to get
and then
by the Facebook.
And then at the end of the game, they retaliated by attacking Couturier, hitting him in the back, which caused a scuffle.
Yeah,
with several guys because Couturier was just standing there, but it happens. It sucks. Like, I don't think it was intentional. You're not trying to hurt the guy. You're just playing, and then I don't know why he would sit out if he wasn't hurt. But
and that's the thing. Broken jaws usually don't they just put you in a full cage and you come back, right? I mean, that's what players have done in the past.
Yeah. So I don't know if there's an underlying issue going with it, but I'm just going to go and say, unless I hear something otherwise, I'll just say, yeah, it's probably his jaw, or something more along with that. And they're just saying jaw because they don't want to put it out yet.
All right. Mike Milbury. He has been a mouthpiece for as long as I can remember on TV.
Yes.
Constantly stirring up stuff with his comments. The one that got me was a few weeks ago in the Leaf series where he suggested Jake Muzzin was faking an injury in an effort to slow the game down and waste some time. Muzzin ended up getting stretchered off the ice and did not see another game after that. So now he's in the hot seat for a comment he made. There was conversation going on, and he basically said in the middle of the conversation where they were talking about, how the players are getting more of a chance to spend time with their teammates over longer periods of time, suggesting it's a perfect place. And he came out and said, not even any women here to disrupt your concentration. A lot of people are saying what was so wrong about it. A lot of people are perplexed about it. I'm going to go with it makes no sense. It was a comment that really didn't need to be made, whether he thought it or not. Maybe one of those things you may want to think about but don't talk about, especially this day and age when women are trying to change things and they're, the growth of the NWHL and women in sports. We see a lot more women sportscasters. In some other leagues, we're starting to see a lot of female officials coming out and being, referees at professional levels. So for him to make a comment like that really struck a lot of people in the wrong way, and people are calling for his head, just like when Don Cherry was let go for his comments. So your thoughts on this one?
Now, what was the exact thing that he was saying? Because I think
the conversation being had was about the environment in the bubble, and quoted, the commentary was between himself and Boucher, and Boucher says, if you think about it, it's a terrific environment with regard to if you enjoy playing and enjoy being with your teammates for long periods of time. It's a perfect place. To which Milbury added, not even any women here to disrupt your concentration.
like I can see that, but then at the same time, I'll play devil's advocate. I can see where he might be saying, because you know how professional players are when they go out, and you as a coach want them to stay focused.
Mm-hmm.
And what you guys do, they tend to look for women or whatnot, and it gets their eye off the ball, and they look elsewhere. And then their focus isn't on the game. And I think maybe he was saying they can't have anybody take their focus off the eye of the prize, which is winning the championship. And like I don't know exactly that would be my first impression of it is that. But I can see from what you say about that too. Like I can see both sides. This is just me playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, understandable.
Because he wants the guys to be focused, and with bachelors, as you see, they're always going to look for women, going to a bar, this and that. At least with this, they're stuck in the bubble. They can't leave it, so they're basically they have no choice but to be focused on just hockey.
I think what a lot of people are upset about is that he could have simply said there's no distractions. He specifically said,
yeah.
And it opens the door to many other things, like what if there's players who are not interested in women?
Maybe he could have said it and then say, and so there's no distractions, and then he would have been fine.
If he would have used the word distractions without specifically mentioning women, I think he would have been okay. Nobody would have cared. It just would have been another comment made. So immediately after the NHL released a statement, of course, saying the National Hockey League condemns the insensitive and insulting comment that Mike Milbury made during last night's broadcast, and we have communicated our feelings to NBC. The comment did not reflect the NHL's values and commitment to making our game more inclusive and welcoming to all. So the NHL obviously took this the same way, and obviously from a proper standpoint on their part, they kind of had no choice. But regardless, I think it was taken the same way on everybody's part, that you're not just saying the players' wives are a distraction, or that their girlfriends or whatever are a distraction. I mean, to say something like that this day and age, uncalled for, not necessary. And again, he could have simply just ended it with there's no distractions. But given his history and the things that he said in the past, it's no surprise. I mean, he's a bit of a bonehead, and I've seen countless interviews where him and Jeremy Roenick are on the panel together, and Roenick absolutely shreds him all the time. And those two really share a great dislike for one another. So if you get a chance to look at those videos, those are actually pretty fun. And seeing Roenick's reaction is quite entertaining.
And of course, being here, I'm a big Roenick guy. So
exactly,
and I like his personality, and then he knows what to say and when to say it. So,
yep. So next thing, Bruce Boudreau. The rumors started earlier in the year, and just to track back to that, I don't think he's been suspended so far. NBC has not released a statement. We only know that the NHL has apologized on his behalf. I believe I read somewhere that he was supposed to have the call on tonight's game, and he may no longer have that.
Maybe that's probably the punishment. They probably take a call away from him.
Yeah, so I'm not sure where that's going to be with respect to him. Anyway, so back to this. So Bruce Boudreau, earlier in the season, it was rumored that he could potentially become head coach of the Maple Leafs. And then, they stuck with Keefe. And then the conversation was had that with McFarland announcing his departure to go take over duties, I believe, in the OHL as a head coach, that there'd be an opening at the NHL level. So as such, Bruce Boudreau's name has come up. As most might know, he's had ties to Toronto. He played for Toronto in a very short career, but he played majority of his career in Toronto, known as a grinder, a fighter, a lot of cheap shots, but a sure grinder, that's for sure. His reputation as a coach definitely is a good one. He is a very defensive-minded coach, and any Leaf fan, any other fan will tell you one of his biggest problem is defense. So having a defensive specialist behind the bench to help Keefe, I think, would be a big addition for them. I think he brings a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience that this entire team could really use. Sometimes, it's not the answer in just trading away the whole team. It's you got to have the right people coaching them. And from personal experience in having previously worked there, the head coach doesn't spend much time on the ice with the team. Mike Babcock, for example, likes to do laps, likes to keep in shape, likes to do a lot of work on the exterior. Doesn't spend much time on the ice with the players, especially for game day skates. Now, not to say that the coach isn't involved. He is involved, but I think with specific areas like the power play, you got your special teams coaches, right? So I think bringing Boudreau in as a defensive coach, an assistant, a consultant, however you want to look at it, I think would be a huge jump for the Leafs. It would be a great opportunity to take. They supposedly requested to speak with him and were granted permission. Now, I don't know where it goes from there. But
and you said the interim coach is staying put?
Yeah. There's been no word of Keefe being relieved of his duties. And the only reason why the change was made is McFarland had announced earlier in the year that he was leaving the team as an assistant coach. Now, the other assistant coach just simply was not renewed, so he was let go and he's done with. So there's two openings. I'd love to take one, but obviously I'm not. But it'll be interesting to see how this changes things, because again, the Leafs' defensive woes are huge.
Which I think he did a good job after taking over, because they weren't playing well, and then they got into a little hot streak once he took over. Mm-hmm. But like you said, the one issue that they had was defense and getting behind early, and Boudreau is a guy that can help out with that in that role, and then you could just put him focused on that. Mm-hmm. And then he could have like a say of bringing in guys, or being like, let me work on these guys. I'll get him in shape to play defense. Just let me do my thing, and then you worry about the offense right now, since you got that all clicking on all cylinders, basically.
Yep.
It does have a ripple effect when the defense is playing well, and you're constantly being behind. The forwards are going to have to start forcing things, and then if the defense is playing well, you can just play fluidly, and things work better from there. Mm-hmm. So I think it would be a good move if they bring him in as an assistant for the defense.
Yep. And in speaking of that offensive power, everybody in Toronto is calling for Mitch Marner to be traded. As you know, I'm a huge Marner fan, and I don't blame him for anything. I think people are just upset about how much money he's making, and as a result, the expectations are set to be a lot higher. People are expecting a 50-goal scoring machine out of Marner because of the money he's making. Truthfully, I don't see why it's anybody's business what he's making. I mean, at the end of the day, he asked for what he asked for, and he got it, and the Leafs gave it to him. So he's playing good. And I don't understand why so much hate on him when it's strictly cap-based. And I get it, because that puts the team in a bit of a crunch. But I think the Leafs have a lot worse contracts to worry about than Mitch Marner's. At least he's playing, and I think he's deserving of a little more credit than what he's being given. Apparently there's a need for, people are saying either Marner or Tavares have to go. I don't agree. Neither of them have to go. If I'm going to trade somebody, I'm trading William Nylander. He's got an attractive contract, and a player that can only play during the season and then shies away in the playoffs and won't play and won't fight for the puck, to me, means nothing. You don't just get to the playoffs and then clock out, see you later. I'm only moving if the puck is on my stick. So I like Nylander. I think he's a good player. Unfortunately, if I had to cut somebody, that's who I'm trading. I'm not trading Mitch Marner.
But I will say this. You would get more back by trading Marner than you would Nylander.
Not necessarily, because not many teams can afford to pay Marner what the Leafs signed him for. So the Leafs would have to eat salary if they're going to move him. There's no way someone's going to take him for that.
We got breaking news right now that I want to break down. Milbury temporarily leaves any NBC gig.
Really?
They announced it 2 seconds ago. He's stepping away for the rest of the playoffs.
Wow. Breaking news, guys. You heard it here first, just as it happened. I was actually Googling, and I continue to Google.
He's
Mike
temporarily
Milbury.
stepped away from this role after he made an insensitive remark about women during a broadcast. In light of the attention caused by the recent remark, I have decided to step away from the role at NBC Sports for the remainder of the Stanley Cup playoffs. I do not want my presence to interfere with the athletes as they try to win the greatest trophy in sports.
Wow. Well, there you have it.
Yep.
There you have it. Austin, you were asking earlier, Mike Milbury has announced he is stepping away from NBC for the remainder of the playoffs after the comments he made. And I think this is the right move on his part, whether it was initiated by him or by NBC or by the NHL, whoever it was. It's just, this is one of those things where even if he didn't mean it in a bad way, let things cool off, regroup next season, do what you got to do. Unfortunately, there's no time and there's no room for it in the game to make such comments without facing the repercussions of it. So I think this is wow, breaking news, man.
And literally, you were talking and I got it on my phone. I'm like, I got to break this on air. So just remember, Between the Pipes broke the news.
All right. That's awesome. That's great. So Braden Holtby, that's another one. Everybody's talking about where will he sign? Does he go back to Washington? Rumors are saying Edmonton might want him. I think he's a good goalie. He still has he still has a lot to provide as a starting goaltender. Where he ends up, I don't know. What do you think?
I know he's not going back to Washington because they got that young guy that was doing well before he got hurt. And I think from a cap decision, they'd be smart to let Holtby go because he's going to cost money to keep. And then this is tough because essentially you got I think you're going to have to wait or to before the expansion draft. Because everybody remembers that they had the expansion draft coming up, and you don't know what's going to happen with that. And then I'm wondering, before the expansion draft, are they going to have that before free agency?
That's the thing, because if that's the case, then do they protect him or do they risk letting him walk? Because Seattle will be crazy to leave a guy like Braden Holtby out in the open and not take him.
Yeah, exactly, and that's their strong goalie right there. For a starting franchise, for an expansion franchise, you get him right away. Kind of like with how the Vegas got Marc-Andre Fleury because of Matt Murray in Pittsburgh. It would be the same situation. Going with the younger guy right there. It saves you money right now because you're going to have to pay Holtby more. But I could see that. I could see Edmonton. I could see those are the two top spots that I see right now. I could see the Flames.
Yeah, they ran into a bit of a problem late in the series with two goalies that I thought were doing so well, and then it just.
I could see Carolina. I could see them.
It's funny how the Leafs aren't even being thrown in there because I know that. A lot of people are saying Freddie Anderson coming into his last year, he'll be playing in his contract season. Do you move him now or risk him walking? He's going to demand more money, and I can understand and I can see him doing that. I don't know that he's a right fit in Toronto. So there's going to be a lot of changes. Like I would love to see the Leafs chasing Robin Lehner, but the problem is that if he continues to play the way he's playing with Vegas, he may not go anywhere, or he may be very expensive to get at a later time.
And then Fleury could retire, and then it makes the decision easy for them. Exactly. Just Mariner and then let him retire.
Yep. So last topic here is the Kraken, the Seattle Kraken. What do you think? I don't think we've actually discussed our thoughts and opinions. What do you think of the name? What do you think of the logo, the colors? I'll pull those up in a sec. What are your thoughts on Seattle's team here?
It might be an unpopular opinion, but I love it all. Like I like the name. I like the jerseys are really cool. I like that. What I do disagree with is the S logo. I know why they did it, so they can incorporate the Space Needle on it. I thought they could have actually had like a big Kraken on their jersey, but with how the NHL teams do it, I think they use those types of jerseys as like a third alternate, where they have like an animal on it, or they use the actual like thing as a logo, like the Bruins. They got a bee on it, but on the third alternate one, they have a bear on it. And same with the Oilers, they had the cool ice thing looking thing as an alternate one. It's just, I think they'll eventually put like a Kraken on it on the alternate ones when they come out with one. But I'm not going to complain too much. I just think that the S is too plain on it. But I love the color scheme, even though it's almost similar to the Jets.
Mm-hmm. I feel like the S would have been a good shoulder patch, maybe.
Yes.
I don't like it as a crest. You're right. I feel like they could have done a lot better with a crest. I've seen some really awesome concept images that just random people and artists have submitted.
Yeah, I saw a really great one, and I'm like, even though that's S, that looks really good. I really like it.
Yeah,
and then
so
they had one where it was the S made out of tentacles. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, so there's I mean, it'll be, I think they'll be the big craze for a while. Everybody's going to be talking about them and seeing what kind of product they put on the ice, if they're going to have the same luck.
Do you have any predictions of who the coach might be, or who might be picked up by them?
So I was reading up on that the other day, and there's a nice group out there of available coaches.
Yeah.
That they could consider getting their hands on. I mean, let's not forget, there's coaches like Mike Babcock, who's still out there, still being paid by the Leafs a pretty hefty salary, and I think he's down in the U.S. somewhere helping out with a college team or something, or university team, and as a consultant of some sort. So he's still available.
Yeah.
Some are suggesting Peter Laviolette.
He would be
An
perfect.
option. There was another name that had been thrown out there. Bill Peters, who left Calgary earlier on, was another person that they were discussing, and they were saying could be a potential candidate for Seattle to bring in as a head coach as well. I think there was Gerard Gallant was another name tossed out there. I mean, there's a lot of people they have an option with getting.
And he has the experience of doing this with the Knights.
Yeah.
So that could be.
I don't think they'll have a hard time finding a coach. That's for sure.
No, and then isn't that Francis the GM?
I believe so.
Ron Francis. Yeah.
Ron Francis, I'm pretty sure he is. Yeah.
So he has hockey mind. So he'll know. I think he'll know who to bring in, and then who to draft. As you know, with how the draft works, is they get one player from every team. I believe it is on their roster.
Yeah.
And then they can take. Each team can protect 7 forwards, 3 defensemen, and 1 goalie, or any mixture of 9 plus the goalie. Which I think it was 6 for the Vegas Knights, and then they upped it 1 when Vegas made those crazy deals to where the teams were like, here, if you take this player, we'll give you a first-round pick. And the funny thing with that was they built their team off of that. And the 2 guys in those 2 those 2 trades that they did, where they took guys instead of who they actually wanted, they brought in William Carson, who scored 40 goals the first year, and then Marchand from Florida, who has had a great year this year. So I'm interested to see if that trend continues with Seattle, or if teams knowing that they can keep 7 now if they don't have to now, or if they game plan differently with their players.
So a little more details here in the ruling behind the draft is that it says Seattle must pick, within their picks, they must include no fewer than 20 players under contract for 2021-22, with an aggregate expansion draft value between 60% and 100% of the 2021 cap. Also, the players cannot be bought out from those contracts prior to the summer of 2022. So there's quite a few stipulations that are out there, but I think they'll have enough pick to put out a decent product on the ice. That's for sure. So I'm not sure. I don't think they've announced a date yet as to when that's happening. I think that'll happen after the playoffs are over. They'll announce that.
I'll try and bring it up right now.
I was just trying to do that and seeing if there's anything out there. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
It was supposed to be in. It was supposed to be in June.
Yeah,
but
so
now
everything got pushed over, right?
Now everything is saying June of 2021, but the team was supposed to play this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how that works.
That's the thing, and they haven't even announced any sort of plans for the next season as to how that's going to happen. Like it's obviously going to be impacted by this year's schedule. So, preseason gets delayed, everything gets pushed over. We're looking at a potential, they were saying December, January start, which again, unless they're planning on changing things drastically, it will impact next season in similar ways that it impacted this season. So we're not going to have your typical season that we've seen in the past. So I'm not sure.
It'll be more packed in together, and then
we might see more, back-to-backs in 3 games in 4 nights. Teams are going to get gassed, and which translates into injuries and players getting hurt. And, it's a risk that I'm not sure how they can handle it all, but I'm sure that between the NHLPA and the NHL, they've probably already ironed out all these details. So it's a matter of they'll probably make all this public once the season's over and once someone wins the cup.
Yeah.
So as always, we get to our favorite part. What else is going on at AEE? I'll do things a little different this week here and just give a quick glimpse here for everyone to see. So there's the lineup of what's going on. As always, you can take the lead here since you've got a show tomorrow morning.
Yes, and before I get to that, it's not on the schedule, but I finalized the time and date for my interview with Mike Beats Boy Davis. He's a UFC fighter, and I'm going to be interviewing him Wednesday at 3:00. I just confirmed that with him this morning, which is great. Like I'm just getting
that's part of obviously your Cage My IQ.
Yeah, for Cage My IQ, like I run it like separate from. I usually do a breakdown show for each pay-per-view card, and then I kind of keep this separate, but under the same umbrella of Cage My IQ, because it's a cool little thing that I started that I didn't think was gonna do well, and then I've been getting all this feedback and everything from all these fighters. And then, of course, last night, one of the guys that I interviewed won. John Sartor won, which I talked about it on Mainline last night. He won by 3rd round submission, which was great. And he might be in line for a title shot. But back to the schedule. Tomorrow on Stand Your Ground, me, Alex, and a buddy of his will be talking the Europa Cup final that just happened yesterday between Sevilla and Inter Milan, which I know we had stuff to say about that out in the group chat yesterday. And then we're also going to preview the Champions League final that's tomorrow at 3:00 our time, I believe it is. And then we're also going to break down Harry Maguire's night out on the town, as we would say. And then we're going to discuss who we think is going to get relegated at the end of this upcoming season. So it's going to be a really good episode. And then from what I hear, his buddy is really knowledgeable. So it'll be nice to get a third opinion like we did last week with our boy, the Gatherer, Austin.
So with that being said, for any soccer fans out there, the Champions League final tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern, is between PSG and Bayern Munich. I think it's going to be an awesome game to watch. Hopefully as entertaining as the Europa League final, if not more.
And check out Pod Out. It's tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern time. It's when we go live.
You'll get all your previews with Daniel and Alex there and their special guest. Great show for anybody who's into soccer. Very detailed, and with tomorrow being probably one of the biggest events in soccer other than, your World Cup. I think the Champions League has a lot of prestige. It's one of those big ones.
It's the number one event in football. The Premier League. Premier League is probably the best league, but all the guys will say the Champions League, you'd rather win that than the Premier League.
Yeah, that's a big one.
The Premier League is just the English teams. The Champions League is every team in all the 8 leagues. So that means you're the best of them all instead of just the best in your league, one league.
Yep. So that's Stand Your Ground, guys, tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Then tomorrow night, we've got Whiskey Cinema. If you haven't watched these guys, do yourself a favor, tune in, 8 p.m. They're awesome. They drink, they talk, they engage with their watchers, their viewers. It's awesome. Really awesome show. These guys are great. And then for you football guys out there, Monday night game-winning drive, 9 p.m. Eastern. Again, another great show for anybody who's into football. Very knowledgeable guys talking about football all night long. And those guys, they know their stuff. Like it's.
I mean, they always get great views because of that.
Yeah, they know their stuff. Fantasy football, news around the league. I know they just can't wait for things to start up for them. So it'll be a good show as always. Then Tuesday night at 8 p.m., you got Josh in the boardroom. Always an entertaining show. He breaks down all your sports, goes through everything you need to know. Probably going to be a lot of talk about NFL and NBA this week.
Am I right that not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday, who should be appearing on the boardroom, or it's in the
Next Tuesday, I should be making an appearance on the boardroom. It'll be interesting. It'll be fun, and I'm looking forward to doing my first podcast alongside with Josh. That's next Tuesday. So, what else we got? Wednesday night is the always popular Wednesday Night War with Anthony joining Josh. Always a riot watching those two talk. And is someone singing this week again? I think they got, depending on where they land with viewers.
It's depending on views, but not to veer off. If you come off here and you want to watch something else, Anthony and Tim will be getting started in the next 20 minutes or so, I believe, with the NXT TakeOver watch along.
Oh, right, that's tonight.
So just jump over to that if you want to get some more fix of a podcast. And of course, it's Anthony, so you can't get enough of him.
Nothing like a watch along. You get to experience Anthony's surprise and shock as it happens in the moment. There's nothing better. And then Josh comes back Thursdays at 6 p.m. with RSH alongside Chuck. And those guys have this huge debate going on right now with their title defense and all that. So is that happening tonight? Is that part of the...
Tonight is the Wednesday night belt for the Chuck's belt, which I am taking.
So this is it. So this is tonight. This is happening. There's been a lot of smack talk between these guys. I love it. I love the enthusiasm.
I know it's me, Anthony, Tim, Alex, and I think that's it, who are gunning for it. And
Quiet Alex. Alex had quite the promo this afternoon. I was very much enjoying that.
Did you see Chuck's promo back?
Yep. We saw the response. So it'll be interesting for you guys. Again, that takes place tonight, very shortly after this one goes off there.
Yeah.
Visit the alleverythingentertainment.com webpage. Be sure to check out the videos there. You can also find us on YouTube. Just search All Everything Entertainment. We're there. We just revamped our site. Very appealing.
Don't forget to just subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Yes.
It's under All Everything Entertainment. Just subscribe and support us. The AE movement. We're getting bigger every day.
Absolutely.
And we need everybody's help to grow, and we support everybody that listens and joins in on the podcast. It's a great time.
In addition, of course, we're also on Instagram. Give us a follow. AEE.com is the name. You'll start to see a lot more interactive posts, a lot more about our podcasts and our team. New section on our website. If you click on About Us, we've got a huge section now on all of our writers, podcasters, and who we are, a little bit about all of us. So feel free to check out our website. Fresh new look. Our fearless leader has been working effortlessly to get us out there and really show our brand and really provide a great look to our website. So he's been spending hours on end making sure this happens. So shout out to Mr. King and all the work that he's done for us on our website and everywhere else in recruiting this great crew that we have. So again, our website, alleverythingentertainment.com. We are on Instagram, aee.com. Find us on YouTube, All Everything Entertainment. Find us on iTunes, All Everything Entertainment. SoundCloud, All Everything Entertainment. And, of course, on Twitter as well as aee.com. So we're there. We're out there. You need to be there. Follow us, please. Like, share, do what you got to do. Without you guys, we're nothing. So thank you to everybody who follows and all of our supporters, and we will see you next week.
See you guys.
Peace.